was built to last with the webs I'm weaving. I could change the past with all I'm achieving. Got my foot on gas, never stop competing. If you break my glass, then this life's gonna end.
I wanna be the best in the game, invest in my name. Check no restraints, I'm obsessed with the pain. I ingest, I retain, assess and I change. Possessed by the thought I'll be free one day from society's restraints. Money, clout and fame, mud, disease, a plague. We all love to hate, have to play the game, have to make a name. All our insecurities are on display. This is war with the enemy, think that it was meant to be. Living in a time where disease is on every screen. I won't let them fester me, I know most are festering. Negativity is a plague for the mentally weak. No mercy, all I got is working. Never stop searching, never quench the thirsty. I'm toxic and psychotic, but there's logic, you can't stop it. It's been chronic since I was a boy, so neurotic and chaotic.
Built to last with the webs I'm weaving. I could change the past with all I'm achieving. Got my foot on gas, never stop competing. If you break like glass, then this life's gonna eat 'em. Make mistakes real fast, then you learn how to beat 'em. If you take off the cast, you can see all the healing. If the pain's in the past, move on from the grieving. Put your foot on the gas, no, never stop competing, yeah.
I've been doing this, I'm on it. I just wanna be iconic. Sipping on a gin and tonic, got me going off when I'm on this topic, yeah. If I ever play, I want it. You know that I'm always honest. Stay away from those who are toxic. Keep them out your face, no way, you don't want it, yeah.
Don't try to drain my energy. The enemy is everything. It's mentally, unhealthily spreading like a rare disease, but I won't let it get to me. I don't need your therapy. I can leave a legacy of leading by intensity. Come on, we can fight this. Freedom is priceless. Spread just like a virus. Living in a crisis. Do you feel courageous? Do you seek greatness? Trust me, you can take it. Go on and take your aim. Yeah. Built to last with the webs I'm weaving. I could change the past with all I'm achieving. Got my foot on gas, never stop competing. If you break like glass, then this life's gonna eat 'em. Make mistakes real fast, then you learn how to beat 'em. If you take off the gas, you can see all the healing. If the pain's in the past, move on from the grieving. Put your foot on the gas, no, never stop competing, yeah.
Birds flying high, you know how I feel. Sun in the sky, you know how I feel. Breeze drifting on by, you know how I feel. It's a new dawn, it's a new day, it's a new life for me, yeah.
Turn on your mind now, tune into the feed. We're planting digital flowers from a single tiny seed. Yeah, power to the collective in the data and the soul. The hive mind's getting louder, finding voice and control.
When we get to the FBI, we don't know who did the work. You heard that any of that information is redacted. We don't know who did the work. It's a giant secret. We know that by the time the FBI gets involved, the profile, the text file, that's a snip to use to try to identify somebody is more than twice as big when it gets to the FBI from Othram. We don't know how.
I've got an itch I can't scratch, I'm missing a piece that completes a whole part of me, an open wound scar to see. Everybody come here, gather round, welcome to the freak show, the best in town.
What is going on, Hive? I hope everybody's having a fantastic day. You know, I got a little bit nervous when I was about to start this stream because my arm knocked the audio right out. And if you've been following me since the TikTok days, you know that my audio hates me. I don't know what I've ever done to deserve now having PTSD if my audio is going to work or not. But I'm glad that that was not the case because I have an extremely fun stream lined up for everybody. I'm going to take a little bit different of approach in a couple aspects of this stream. One of the reasons why is, and this is nothing against any guest, but I was driving and I was thinking to myself, what makes the Hive the Hive? It's the chat. And while yes, it's awesome to have guests on, interacting with the chat is what makes the Hive special and unique. So I did a little bit of like a rebrand, call it whatever you want, a rebrand. And let's see how this goes tonight. Let me know in the comments if you guys like it. If you don't, but there's going to be a couple different aspects to the Hive and this stream to hopefully get the chat more involved and just, again, feeling like you all are a part of the stream. That is what makes the Hive the Hive. So who do we all got in the Hive tonight? How many times did I just say Hive? Jeez. April in Texas is here. Dina's here. Fiona's here. Discord Dawn. What's Gucci my Louie? Amanda B from West Virginia. Amanda J starting us off with a $10 super chat. Says, thank you, Birdie, for everything you do. Great conversation with Lana. Damn it, yesterday. Christ. Well, I appreciate you, Amanda, and I appreciate everybody who does donate with a super chat because I don't charge for the streams. I don't plan on it. And I genuinely like coming and talking to you guys every night. So I will do that for as long as I can or until I get bored of it. And I don't think I'm going to get bored of it. Nicole, how are you doing? I hope you are having an awesome week. Thank you for the additional super chat. You rock. We got Sisterhood Tribe Nicole's here. Gigi Era. Les, Cindy S. Shout out to my mod, Robin Lynn. Karen's in the house. Lydia, good to see you. Bat Sheet, crazy. What up? Valerie, I'm glad you're here to catch a live as well. Critic Rick 66 says we need to issue a reward, 1 million for the sheath that no one has ever seen. Has anybody done a reward for the sheath yet? Wasn't there some sort of search? I don't know if there was an award for finding it, but that'd be something. Who's got the million to put up? What's up, Cheesy Koala? That's an awesome username. Cindy, Pink Stinger, what up? What is, instead of asking where everybody's tuning in from, I thought this would actually be different too for tonight. What is the time where you're tuning in from? What's, like, as far as time zones? We got a lot of people, not just in the States, watching us right now, but what is the time currently where you are tuning in from? How are you doing, Jenna? You got 709. We're gonna be able to tell real quick where a lot of people are tuning in. A from 509, 209 a.m., 509, 109 a.m. I'm just gonna have to. I'm gonna have to just read these. I can't even click them fast enough. Jeez. 709, 509, 210 almost. 817. City of Angels, Phoenix says. Mountain time, baby, is what Ashley said. Lots of Eastern time. That's what I was just thinking, Cindy. That's right, Gloria. That's a great one to end on. And Uncle Daddy Brother goes with the military time. That's hilarious. And thank you, Ray. Yes, as a reminder, everybody go make sure that you guys download the Discord app on your phone and go into my YouTube channel's bio and join our Discord. Well, Discord Dawn says her clock is set a few minutes early on purpose. You know, I used to set mine a few minutes late on purpose so that I would have anxiety before I showed up anywhere. feel like I thrived when I thought I was running late. And that's a joke. I think if you do that, you might be psycho. Could you imagine actually setting your time backwards or back a few minutes to think that you're always late? Is that a thing? Does anybody in the hive do that? I guess I wouldn't be that surprised, but thank you so much, Beth. I appreciate that. Says Rhode Island loves the hive. Yeah, I don't think anybody would do that, but all right. Well, as a disclaimer, if you're new to the hive, welcome. This is a Contrarian Thinking live stream where we are not afraid to think past the headlines. So if you're rattled or if you're offended on behalf of others easily, this probably will not be the stream for you. As you can probably tell by the theme of the night, which is how much longer can they hide it? However, if you like to question everything, challenge the narrative, and look to see who really pulls the strings, then you have found your people, and welcome to the hive. Now, this theme that I have chosen for tonight, while yes, Dylan and Bethany are is the picture that I chose saying oops. Oops seems to be a rather common theme in general with this case. How long can they hide the unredacted body cam, the unredacted documents, the sheath? How long can they hide, you know, the 911 call? Obviously they release it, but they've been hiding shit this entire time in this case. So how much longer can they hide the truth? I don't think it's going to be that much longer. And I do wonder, which I'll have a question for the hive after we get into it a little bit. I do wonder where that sheath is. And we're going to do an exercise, assuming it exists, assuming it's real. We're going to do an exercise and try to see if we can come up with a theory as to where it could be, logically bridge building with our tinfoil hats. So, all right. Now, this is one of the new things that I am going to try tonight and see if this is something we continue doing. I got a couple of things over the course of the next few nights that I'm going to try. Instead of just continuing to do a Discord question today, I want it to be exciting when people tune in. Like, what has Birdie got for us tonight? And while yes, the flow of the show will be similar and maintain, you know, a progression that's been close to what we've been doing. This is going to be called the Hive Mind Trigger, and it's going to be 4 questions. So you have question 1, what's the dumbest lie you've ever told as an adult? What's your hometown's darkest secret? What's the weirdest nickname you've ever had? And what's the funniest conspiracy that might be real? And I have a spinner, and we're going to spin it, and whatever number it lands on, we're going to take a couple of minutes, and I'm going to put the answers up on screen. And God only knows where the conversation with the hive will go when I'm sure some of the answers will spark conversation. So, all right, hive, here we go. First ever trigger for the hive. Okay, hang on. I did this damn spinner. I'm not even joking. I did this damn spinner 5 times to make sure it wasn't going to land on the other one. It doesn't even land on anything the first time. Hold on. Are you fucking kidding me? I deserve that. How does that happen? Jeez. Okay. Take 2. All right. Are we going to count that as 3? I think that's 3. That's very suspect physics, and I'm going to have to choose a different spinner app, but we're going to go with number 3 on this one, which is, what is the weirdest nickname you've ever had? Mine was Doc Woods, and I'll leave it at that. Aurora was Spanky. Veronica was Toucan. True to it was Lizard. You got Dory, Teppy, Dino, Big Red, Ace, Buttermilk, Monocle. Nurse heard your nickname was Pig Nose Pelts. Christ. Lydia, I'm going to ask, why? Yeah, exactly. Gabba Dabba Doo. That's creative. See, like that's a cool one. That's a cool one. Sweet Cheeks. Mimi Balls. Truck Mullet. Oh my God. Stop. Teenage Mutant Ginger Turtle. Mother Markle. Dinklepuss Cheese. Nubbins. Gabby, you can't have Gabba Dabba Doo and then also have Flabby Pigler. Oh, thank you, Roy. I appreciate that. Yeah, this will be fun. I think this will be fun. And I'll obviously switch up. I'll switch up the questions, but I figured I'd have some funny ones for the first night. So I think that I forgot which one it was now in the beginning. Whatever one I was losing my mind over, it was one of the first ones. That's funny. And Tinfoil Hat Claire, Queen of Farts. Wow. I can't stop. I can't stop. I feel like, oh man. You had a friend in high school. He used to frequent the red light district. His nickname was Pizza Face. Oh, that's hilarious. That is hilarious. That's like the best nicknames too are the ones that they have a hidden meaning behind them. There's a story behind the nicknames. And the best nicknames seem to be the ones that you yourself cringe a little bit every time you hear it when they first start sticking. It's like, oh, this is really about to be my nickname, isn't it? Jesus Christ. Okay. All right, moving on. Otherwise, I'll just sit here all day and stare at the funny nicknames and laugh. All right, let's move on to the Hive Mind Finds. I got some good ones. And this first one comes from Let's Call Them Out. We got Search Your Mind Banfield. That's her nickname. And they said, thought this was interesting and how News Nation spun this information. I purposefully did not watch this clip until right now. But I found this meme from Billy Madison where it's, I award you no points and may God have mercy on your soul. Because I feel like that's about to be what happens. Without even seeing this, I could probably tell you exactly. Okay, the nickname's got to stop. That's one. That's one that when Devil's Advocates comes on screen on Monday, we are going to do that one. I'm going to load those questions up with where the only answers can be to make him have a laughing fit. Okay. Focus. Oh man, it's like one of those situations where when you're not supposed to laugh, you end up laughing harder. Ooh. You guys get the whole point about the Billy Madison thing. I'm going to go ahead. I'm going to play this. This clip here.
This primarily was on his,
and I messed it up.
This primarily was on his PC. It was also on his phone. But as you said earlier, he wanted to go back. So he wrote not one, but 2 letters of grievance explaining why he needed that insurance, why he needed the TA role, what it meant to him. And then in a second one was saying why the professors were wrong. So why they were wrong. He is a good student. He has a good GPA. He can be both a good student and a TA and deserves that role.
Not sure, Heather, if you know the answer to this, but was he responding to female professors, and did he have a real attitude in some of his writings?
The one, I'm not sure if it was a male or female professor, but the one where he got the improvement plan, that was with a female professor. And that was the second letter, I believe, was going back to her.
How about the attitude part? Did he have attitude, or was he really trying to like grovel?
In the first one, he was groveling. In the second one, he was trying to point out why he was right and she was wrong.
Ah, yes, the woman, of course. That's what all his female colleagues said about him, that he would be late for the women's classes, the women professors, but never late for the men's, and that he would berate the women in the classroom, but not the men who were students. Okay, so Jared, his mother sent him this article about the murders, after the murders, but of course before he was arrested, about Xana putting up a fight. And it seemed, I think, that he was on the phone with his mother right around the time that this text came in. Can you tell me a little bit about her communications with him?
Yeah, sure. So November 17th just kind of stands out a little bit. He had more mother interaction that day than normal, which was a lot. He was on the phone with her for hours that day.
I'm sorry. What a weird way to say it. Brian Koberger's a grown-ass man, and this guy's up here saying he had more mother time. He had more mother time than normal. You simp.
But sort of to end the night, that night, and this was the same day that the grievance letters were being worked on and sent. But that night, he received a link from his mom, and the link was to a news article basically describing how Xana had bruises on her body and how she had put up such a fight. And there was no response, no text back. And looking at the timeline a little bit, you can tell that they're actually speaking on the phone. What that tells us, and we can assume, is that they were talking about the Idaho murders on that night.
Oh my.
And then the next morning, there's just kind of nothing. And then this text about coffee beans. And then the second text that said, yes, still there, same girl, very sweet to the two older lady customers there. I have no idea what that is, but there's just no context.
It's very obvious what that is. You know, I know that maybe you can't go a couple of days or a couple of hours without being on your mother's teat, but maybe Brian Koberger, who again is new in a different area and is trying to meet girls, he's told his mom, hey, there's a cute girl that works at the coffee shop. Still there. She was very sweet to two older ladies. What do you mean no that's very obvious context.
Talking about the murders the night before, and then this thing the next morning.
Can you just repeat what you said about the nice girls in the coffee shop? Who sent that text that you read, and can you reread it?
Yeah, his mother sent it to him. It said, yes, still there, same girl, very sweet to the two older lady customers there.
God, that's just
if
eerie.
there might have been something in Pennsylvania, I'm not sure. There's just no context.
There's nothing wrong with talking to your mom a lot. Every day. Shit. I talk to my mom a lot. And there's nothing wrong with that. But just it's rather the way that they're putting it in that light. Like, oh, now is Brian Koberger's mother going to be already allegedly knowing that her son was the murderer, and that's why she kept her mouth shut, and now he's covering for her? There's no context. Was he talking to his mom? Although his mom asked first, was he talking to his mom about who are his next victims? Give me a break. There's nothing wrong with talking to your mom. It's the light that this dude is putting it in.
Well, all I can think of is that the vegan restaurant where the girls work, maybe that was considered a coffee shop. But is there no context because he deleted so much stuff and it was just unretrievable?
So that's the tricky part, is when you look at their communication, it looks like he might have been deleting some of his side of the messages. But there's also this complicating factor that they're on the phone all the time. And so the context could just be a voice call that we don't have the words for.
Probably.
It's weird. When I text with people, I'm not usually on the phone with them. It's much quicker just to talk to them if you're on the phone. But I guess if you're going to send a link saying, hey, I'll send it to you, take a look, that would make sense. But the rest of it, still mystifying. Got to have you back because I still have so many more questions. Heather and Jared Barnhart, thank you so much for this.
Thank you for watching. Subscribe below and down.
Talk about just a roller coaster of joy and then about to crash out between the nicknames and then having to listen to that. Again, I award you no points, and Banfield, may God have mercy on your soul. Search your mind. See if there's a brain in there. All right, Hive. This is another Hive Mind find. This one came from Nicole. And I was going to save this for Monday with Devil's Advocates, but I saw it was recently posted in the Discord for a Hive Mind find. And the timing of this is impeccable, and you're going to see what I mean. But did you guys see Sheen supposedly used AI Luigi in ads? You really can't believe everything you see these days. Is that good marketing or is that bad marketing? Because it could be good marketing if people have the publicity. And now you're going to see why I just started laughing, because I'm setting myself up for just maybe a little bit of a misstep here. But is it good marketing if it's Luigi? And is it bad marketing if it's Brian Koberger? Do you guys think that Brian Koberger will be used in a clothing ad? And I've seen some celebrities where they're like selling their name, image, and likeness to AI so that they can continue to be in movies after they're gone, which is trippy. Is that trippy, or is that wrong, or is that cool? I mean, if they sell it to the big media companies and, you know, the same actors, Tom Cruise is going to be around forever now because they can make him into any movie with CGI. I don't know. I think it's weird. Like, can anybody else get some food in their mouth? What is that? The MGK diss to Eminem, whatever song that was. So when I say that I would put my hand on a Bible, right hand to God, and tell you that I did not see this Hive Mind find until about an hour and a half before the stream, so about 6 p.m. Central. And this morning, when I opened my inbox, I'm not using the old Hive Mind find inbox. I'm getting it from the Discord. When I opened it, what are the chances? What are the odds that this is waiting in my inbox? M. Malim sent me this. I couldn't believe it. And my computer just changed resolution for a nightlight. All right, there we go. Unbelievable. And I'll be right back. I'm going to let you guys look at that for a second. I got to grab my water. I forgot on the counter. It's pretty remarkable. I don't know if it's going to be good marketing or bad marketing. This will probably be terrible. This might have been something that was supposed to be funny, and then of course I'm like, is it good marketing if it's Luigi, and if it's bad marketing if it's BK? And then kind of forgetting that the next slide that I have an AI Brian Koberger in a Hive Mind hoodie. But nonetheless, thank you, M. Malim, for sending this in. That made me laugh. Now, Bex Tats posted this. I'm sure some people in the Discord saw it. However, if you have not, my first reaction was like, hell no. and I got Shaggy down there saying, wasn't me, because how do you defend yourself against something like this? This Hive Mind find really does summarize how easy you could be in the middle of a homicide case or some other kind of crime. It reminds me actually of Ali Benevento's trace DNA story. But Bextat says, imagine this. You are a college student. Your field of study is serial killers. Maybe you want to be in the behavioral analysis unit. I don't know. You are doing research on the motivation of serial killers. You are comparing prolific serial killers and their backgrounds to write your next thesis or paper. You go out one night thinking you need a break from all this crazy research, and you drive a little too much, or you drink a little too much. So you ask someone for a ride just to be safe. You buy a 20-ounce water before they take you home. In your overworked, slightly intoxicated state, you leave that water in the car. Total accident. They clean up the car a little bit, and not thinking anything of it, the driver throws your water bottle in the back seat and it rolls under the seat. That person goes on to commit a crime, any crime, doesn't matter. While processing the crime scene, they find your water bottle. It's got your DNA all over it. The next morning, you wake up to cops going through your garbage and they arrest you for the crime. You are now guilty of the crime and you were never even there. Sound familiar? Scary shit out there. And then they're going to force you into a plea deal because they're going to say, whatever that crime was, if it was, a quadruple homicide in a small town, 4 beautiful young people, next thing you know, you're Brian Koberger. That's effed. That is well said, Bextats. I mean, that should wake a lot of people up just how much a trial is needed. You're never going to be able to explain your story. They're never going to be able to look at the evidence. They're never going to be able to present the evidence to a jury because in your mind, you're thinking, well, I don't want to be put in front of the firing squad if they don't believe me. When Brian Koberger first pled, full transparency, I thought he was being a little bit of a wuss. And I think back, really, the news was saying he's afraid of death, he's afraid of this, all that other stuff. If you logically think about it in that situation, taking the plea may have been the best move legally. And there's people that are like, I don't care what would happen. If I'm innocent, I'm going to trial. The Innocence Project exists for a reason because people think that way. Now, you're also not giving yourself a chance. This case is different. I would be curious what you all think. Has your mind changed at all after the context of hearing how many cases actually never go to trial because they're forced into a plea? That kind of opened my eyes a little bit to it. And innocent people plea all the time. And Wicca Blank Shady says, psychopaths don't fear death. You're exactly right. You don't see this case happening in this way in other states. I was watching a Project Innocence documentary last night on Levon, and I forget the dude's last name. It was where a 3-year-old girl was taken through a window, and he was completely innocent. When he gets out of prison, he unfortunately dies after. It's crazy. Yeah, this was a good one. The Stephen Avery one, we've talked about it a couple of times. I think it just goes to show you how easily law enforcement could F you over. The other thing, too, that I've noticed is the media is most times, never going to take the individual that's accused side the first time. I feel like they're just going to report whatever the police report says when they get their hands on it. And then that narrative's out. By the time you even hire an attorney, tell your story, they go through the evidence, that narrative's made its way around the world 3 times. And that's exactly what I think, Veronica. I think he was framed because he was going to win millions. And I think that whoever they got to frame him was paid out a decent amount. My theory is that it was actually on his own defense team. That's a theory. And that lawsuit would have bankrupted Manitowoc's. It would have bankrupted everything there. What was it, 34 million or 18 million? It was a ton. The real tragedy in that case, I mean, they're both tragedies, but Brendan Dassey, that's a case study on forcing confession. It's hard to watch, honestly. 23 million. Thank you. 110%. Sarah says, Birdie, what do you think of Pavarotti's theories? You know, I get sent a lot of his stuff, and I watched his series whenever I put on the beanie and the shades. I had watched the first 2-part series where he was like starting to stack his videos, but then outside of that, like it would just be sporadically. Honestly, at night when I'd get done streaming, I'd watch it. I don't think that you could ever question if that dude is a free thinker, if that dude does his own research and comes to his own conclusions. I would say that's very obvious. Agree with him or not, he's been, like a lot of people, he's been making a lot more sense in the mainstream narrative. So personally, I'm a fan, if you want to call it that. I think that he does really good work. So yeah, and hard work, you can tell. So there's a lot of other people that are putting in a lot of work too. And that is one weird thing though about this case. It actually, like any case in general, if there's one thing that I wish could change when it came to social media and podcasts or streams like this, is it's okay to theorize. It's okay to be wrong. If you're going to talk through, hey, this is what this court document says, here's how I'm interpreting it, and here's how you're interpreting it. I don't understand the whole, like, can't wait to shit on someone for it if you don't agree. And I also can't understand the once somebody puts it out there, you can't talk about what somebody else put out because now it's like you weren't first. I understand breaking it. Like, it'd be different if DA called me and DA's like, dude, I got this bombshell that I'm going to break on your show tonight. And I'm like, oh, no, you're not. And I go post a video immediately after. Yeah, that's different. That's just like being a bad friend. So I wish that if everybody that was on the same page with Brian Koberger, whether or not we all agree, this is how it happened, here's how it happened, this is for sure who did it, we really should be talking about, look at all this reasonable doubt and look at what this person said, look at what that person said. Obviously, that's what we're doing here in the Hive. And that would be like the one thing. So Jennifer said, when I was stabbed and had a stroke, I was innocent and the cops were going to testify for me and I had witnesses, but I was highly medicated and don't remember how they got me to plead. Jesus Christ. Wow. And that's right. Collaboration. What is it about? Like a high tide raises all ships? Big believer in that. There is abundance in this world. There's abundance of joy, kindness, money. You just got to try to look for it. It's like the whole analogy when somebody says, when they like point out a certain color car. If you guys haven't heard that, when it comes to your mindset, someone says, you know, don't try to look for a red car. All you're going to see is red cars, right? And what you set your intention. Well, I guess that maybe was the wrong way to say it. So I just butchered that. I just butchered that so bad. If you guys know what I'm talking about with, once somebody points out how many yellow cars there are, you can't stop seeing how many yellow cars there are, and vice versa. You guys get my point. And I had meant to do this in the beginning of the stream. I wanted to wait until I got about halfway through because this, what I'm about to say, this was something that really, like, I had such a swelling of pride and just joy and excitement when I got this today. And if you guys remember, I had read an email that I got from a 6-year-old, their family who tunes in, his mom and dad, Zayden, and they were going to send me a bracelet. And I got that bracelet today, and I got a handwritten note, and I got a drawing of the hive from Zayden. And so, Zayden, thank you for this. And to Zayden's family, thank you so much for the kind words. I was reading this like alone in my truck, and I'm just like, this is just such a cool gift and unique and different. And the bracelets are awesome too, by the way. So here's what they look like. I don't know if you guys can see it. It says, oops. Oh, that way. It says Hive on it. And it says these bracelets are his way of giving something back, even if it's small. Thank you for being such a big source of happiness, amongst a bunch of other things. And they sent a couple for Mrs. Birdie as well. So thank you for that. And that is awesome. I'm obviously not asking people to send me anything. I do have a PO box, but regardless, it's a dope bracelet. So for a 6-year-old, that is incredible. All right, let's get back to business. Big Red said, did you see where the doc said FBI had been trailing DM and a sus before Brian's name was dropped? What, in the ISP? And what document number? I can pull that up if you'd like. I don't believe that we've ever shown that. Now I got one more Hive Mind find, I believe. And this is from Mama Tata. Mama Tata's a local out in Moscow, or she used to be. I'm assuming because I got this earlier today that she maybe was passing through. I don't know. But she went to the gas station that the infamous picture was taken from. And listen to this. Mama Tata says, I took photos of the cameras at the gas station, and the cameras took the infamous photos of the sedan, and I spoke to the owner. He said those cameras never pointed at the road. He showed me the security feed, and they only get the parking lot. One looks like it could until you stand in the parking lot. The gas station is corner of Steiner and Highway 8 leading to Troy. That picture was a setup. So what Mama Tata is saying is that the one camera that could have seen it, that's on the corner, it's pointing at Steiner and Highway 8 leading to Troy. So I don't know if Mama Tata's in here. Jeff H says there's a camera next to the car wash. I wonder if that would be interesting to does anybody know the address of that? Does anybody know the address of the gas station off the top of their head? Or if you guys could put it in the chat, I'll pull it up on Google Earth, see if we can go Street View and see. The car wash exit camera faces East White Ave. Nobody knows the address of it. Well, I don't. Oh, 802 Troy Road. Thank you. All righty. Oh. Right there. Guilters know this gas station very well. Much discussion about it over the years. Well, thanks for pointing that out and for the address that quickly, Jeff. Is he trolling? Has he? This is the car wash. So I don't know if I'll be able to even. I can't go any further that way, but I bet if we zoomed out, that now it would be interesting. I can never remember which button to push. There it is. Let's see if it was. Well, it was still there. So this would have been the angle. It kind of looks like it's pointed down at the thing, though. Am I tripping or no? Doesn't that look like it's just watching, probably, if they paid? Tinfoil hat right there. But that kind of looks like it's meant to see if you paid or not. And looking back at this, if this guy didn't have his damn cell phone here, I'd be curious. Okay, so it's also weird because if this is the reflection of his phone and like this is his fingers, this still up here, I don't know. I don't know why your fingers would even be up here taking a picture though. It just doesn't it kind of look like, how weird is it that the cell phone is perfectly covering right at the body of, like, and you don't see the I don't know, you don't see the light going past where. I think it's kind of weird. Yeah, as usual. Let me see the video. Also, don't you? That's such a good point, Sherlock. That is such a good point, dude. It is at that time, 2022, and this is the photo that you're going to release. You're not even going to like record it. If you really wanted people to identify it, wouldn't you send a video of it? And here it is at this time with the timestamps. Go ahead and see it, and then you can capture a still shot. And it doesn't look like there's a damn bug shield. That's exactly right. Oops. Sarah, that's exactly right. And thank you, Amanda J, for the super sticker. You rock. Oh, God. Now I just want to keep diving into this photo. It's a screenshot of a desktop screenshot. So yes. So what Sherlock's saying is if you screen grab, the screen grab's on a computer screen. So it's already screenshotted, and then somebody is going to take their phone and take a picture of it. Okay. Let's ask. I don't know if there's any guilters that are tuning in, and I hate that I even just said that. Been called a pro burger so many times, it just feels normal to call the other team, which is so effed, so messed up. So I'm not going to say that. For the people that think Brian is guilty, because I'm not going to fall into the trap of the narrative of dividing people, but for the people that consider themselves free thinkers and they still think that Brian is guilty. Does it look like there's a bug shield there? Does this look like you can confirm it is an Elantra? And I promise you're not about to get roasted for being honest right now in the Hive. And I'll ask my mods too, in general, Dawn or Luna, UFO Dog, Robin. How have the chats been going? I haven't really asked as far as if you guys are having to kick or mute. I know sometimes I see it slow down, but the mods are aware. If you're new here, we try not to kick anybody or block anybody unless you're trolling, making threats, or just out of control. So chat is going well. Love it. That's right, Amanda B. Always be respectful. Lulu says, Birdie, what if I can see if her daughter's friend would come on your show and explain if they are telling me the truth? This is no joke. Oh, are you referring, Lulu, are you referring to the TikTok live that you had sent me about the girl who was trying to get into the sororities and didn't get in? And this case, Chappie Boss says, this case is cerebral calisthenics. Thank you for the super chat, Chappie. Chappie Boss. Thank you. And Renee, we do. The Hive, whether it's statistically true or not, I enjoy saying the Hive is the #1 contrarian thinking live stream on the internet. So even if it's a fake award, the Hive can at least get the top dog award for that, because there has been some unbelievable comments and real-time digs and discoveries here. Oh, that was you, Birdie. Okay. Then Lulu, I am trying to remember. Seems like a rather simple concept, doesn't it, Michael? Yes, in the Hive we trust. Maybe. And I think, too, just the saying, whoever had come up with power to the collective, it's such an awesome saying. Brian is innocent until proven otherwise. We need to dig into. Oh, yes. You know what's so interesting about all that? I saw what do they call it on YouTube? Like the TikToks for YouTube. Reels or Instagram shorts. So I saw a short from True Crime Design today that was talking about Hex with Steve G. And I thought to myself, if you watched that video of live dig where we had AI use like alternate reality gaming and pattern recognition and essentially use like what a predictive policing program would do, it strung together so many dots that I think back and I'm like, I've never had AI do that ever since that dig. It was insane. If you haven't seen it, I think it's titled, I'll just go look. Yeah, that was an unbelievable dig. Is this the one? Come on, show me the thumbnail. Think Ann Taylor like kind of
access.
Yeah, but still 90 grand. Gee, part of the protocol person. You got the tier 2 app. Do it. They get to wash their hands, followed by digital. I'm just trying to find this one section taken down. Covered one day. I come on whenever I get time, but I. Well, I'm not gonna be able to find it.
Keys.
It's mind blowing, and you can tell this is obviously back in the TikTok days because I had posted it vertically. So, anyways, that video is that AI predicted. It is insane. Thank you, Dawn. I appreciate the super sticker so much. You guys rock. All right. Now, what I thought, again, kind of sticking with not a rebrand, but just I want to do a temperature check. Is Hive, are you guys enjoying more of the engagement? It's not going to be necessarily every chat, but I'd like to get back into the habit of not just giving a theory, talking, and having really good comments go by. The amount of unbelievable comments that I see when I'm editing, and I'm like, God, I wish I would have seen that because my brain would have went here then. So this was a question that some people may say is rather obvious for an answer to, but I do think it could lead to very, very interesting discussions. And so my question is, we've only ever seen one knife in photos and the body cam, and it's being held by somebody who is the first person on scene. That's not the girls. We have never seen the sheath. We've never seen the K-bar. From a factual standpoint, the only knife that was ever seen at the house was a kitchen knife being held by Hunter. People might lose their shit when I say that, but that is the truth. That is the only person that we have seen at the crime scene who said that he took someone's pulse and that he had a knife. Body language analyst was exactly that of Chris Watt. No, I'm not accusing Hunter of doing it right then in that moment, but it's odd, isn't it? They're saying that it's a large fixed blade knife and they happen to find a sheath with very suspect DNA on it. I wanted to dive into like the sheath. We're all saying that it doesn't exist, but what if a sheath did exist? But they just like ruined the evidence on it, or it was very obviously planted. Is there a chance that the sheath was real, but the planting of the evidence was wrecked, so it could never be retested, and that narrative from Brian's standpoint was locked in cement? Crime Circus pointed out a knife in the trash can too. Lulu, sorry if I missed that response to it. If you're on the Discord, and I apologize, I can't remember everyone's usernames. If you're on the Discord, send me a message, or like, I'm not taking Hive Mind fines in that email, but if you do want to email me for that, that would be great. That inbox, I can check it. I'll check it once a day, usually now. Why was Hunter Johnson always called? That's a good question. What do you guys think? Why was Hunter always the person that was called there for stuff? And no, I'm not saying Hunter. It's not accusation. I'm just trying to say from the only knife we've ever seen was from dude. Are you talking about how in one picture, Uncle Daddy Brother, that it looks like the knife was clean and then it looked like it had some smudges on it? Yeah, that's exactly right. Sherlock says the odds of the sheath being the odds of the sheath being trustworthy are the same odds that Ellie told the truth at all times throughout this case. Riding down the rabbit hole said, why would someone in LE buy the same type of knife and sheath? So if we do see a sheath, are you saying sheath on purpose? Are you trying to make me sound like I have a lisp? The same type of knife and sheath. So if we do see a sheath, how do we know it's the actual sheath? It's a good question. Veronica says, I promise you there's a reason the weapon checkout logs have been deleted from the daily logs in 2022. Othram is a wild rabbit hole, that it is. You feel intuitively that Hunter was already there. You know, you can't knock in like an intuition at all. Yeah, that's like what I was saying with Devil's Advocates on Monday, where in that body cam like screenshot where you see Hunter kind of standing there with his hands on his head or his hands on his head, and the knife is on the beer pong table, and there's 4 dead bodies in the house, and you just followed the cop into the crime scene. It's like, how do you not see like the dude's pistol pointed at him? Like, there's context to it, but if you didn't have context, you'd think, oh wow. That's right, Les, we don't. Yep. People have pointed that out too, Valerie. The knife was not there on the first pass or when they passed it the first time, but it was when the officer came out of Xander's room. So does that mean that dude was, think about that. Does that mean that dude was holding the knife mere feet away from the body? And then the cops kind of scoot around him. They go look at it. They go, oh God. They notice right away. You guys can hear it in the audio. And then when Hunter walks back, just sets it down. What's funny, UFO Dog, I had to take speech classes until 4th grade. So sometimes you guys might hear it, but I had a speech impediment when I was a little kid. I couldn't say my THs, which is hilarious that's what just happened. Sloan Bella nailed it. A lot of people have sent me Sloan Bella stuff. The only reason why it doesn't get onto the stream, it's not because I don't think that shit's interesting. You guys know me. I do. A lot of times it's very, you got to watch the whole thing. You know what I mean? I feel like people who are into the psychic stuff, you'll understand what I'm saying. Like, you kind of got to listen to the entire process of what's coming in, what's coming out. And if you hear something that sounds crazy, it's most likely because you probably just heard a clip of it only. Jojo says, Birdie, out of all the different scenarios we've talked about, which one do you feel the strongest about? And what role did Brian Koberger play? Oh, my mind is made up that Brian Koberger was not the getaway driver. He was not the cleaner. I feel confident in that. So those are no longer. I don't think he picked somebody up from the crime scene and then drove. And Hive, you guys type some out too. We can go off of JoJo's question. Thank you for that. And if I had to say, out of all of them, this might get some flack. I think there's a lot of occult ritualistic shit, numerology. If you look into some of the gangs that are out there and Odinism, the Right of the Twins, that there's also a piece of me that is the theory. I have never put more work into a theory than back on TikTok when I did the Right of the Twins. And those damn videos got flagged and taken down. And I don't know. Sherlock says, as a cop is looking at the scene, you can hear Hunter explaining that he grabbed the knife because he was nervous. You can hear him get it and place it at the table. Yeah. Also that. And then, so you're right. How does Brian come into it? What role did he play? I guess I didn't finish that second part of JoJo's question. I'm fully convinced that Brian Koberger is somehow involved in playing a role to have a public conviction. I 100%, whether it's a ritual, whether it's WITSEC, whether it's Brian Koberger's just taking the fall so that there's a parallel investigation going on because of money laundering via crypto or drugs or trafficking, all those are pretty much equal in my mind, which all of those, there's really only one box that checks all of those. And that's, there was a gang involved or a group of people that probably launder money, maybe traffic humans, maybe have drugs and distribute them via frats on college campuses, right? There's only a couple theories that have that. And that believe in Odinism, where maybe there's some occult ritualistic numerology stuff in it. And then you just so happen to have Brian Koberger transfer across the country. There's nothing in his apartment. He looks like nobody lives there. Nobody knows him. Everybody just so happens to say he's weird. He applied for a freaking internship. He was a criminology student. It's just like, yeah, this guy, if you were to think about who would be somebody that would work with the FBI, Brian Koberger's been doing all of the schooling. Look at the way that he writes about it. So when I think about those two aspects of Brian Koberger being involved, well, rather than the narrative just completely consuming your mind, and when you hear something over and over and over and over and over again, if you can fight the fact that it's not going to become your truth, you can look at what Brian Koberger was doing and progress it through as if he would have finished and working for law enforcement, working for the feds, working for God knows who, studying the minds of criminals. But you can't change the fact that the news has not said a damn thing about drugs, gangs, trafficking, crypto, frats, sororities. That's got to be the obvious giveaway. They twist a kid's education into guilt, and they don't talk about very obvious shit going on at the University of Idaho. And my favorite love-hate question that I have, that's exactly right, Blue-Eyed Candy, that I usually get is the question of like, but why? But why? And it's like, how do you think that some random person on the internet who's theorizing, but really just has a gut instinct that something's not right with this case, there's obvious holes in the narrative, there's obvious holes in the evidence, there's obvious holes in the timeline, and we point those out. But why? You're going to have to answer that yourself. I don't know why. I could tell you why. And you're going to like do what a little toddler does is go, but why? But why? And not in the way of asking questions in a good way. Meaning asking questions is a good thing. But in those cases, it always seems like, but why? But why would they do that? Not a genuine answer. And it's like, or if Brian didn't do it, who did? How would I know? You know what I mean? How would I know? I wouldn't know. And so I don't know. It's just, I would actually say too, and I promise you, if it sounds like I'm calling devil's advocates out right now, that is the last thing that I'm doing. But when I was editing the live with devil's advocates, he kind of said the same thing. He's like, but that would only work if there was a big reveal. And it got me thinking, because I didn't think about it in the moment. And if you were on that stream, what I'd said is, he said, well, what's the end game? What's the end game? And I said, well, they've planted the seed of the narrative that Brian Koberger is going to be killed in prison. Could you imagine if after the fact that he's dead, it comes out he's innocent? That would be a pretty sobering thought to the media, to the police officers, to everybody that said that he was guilty. And then all of his papers get released and they're about exactly what happened to him. That would be powerful. And I was thinking in that direction, but I missed when he said that would only work if there was a big reveal. And I disagree after thinking about it with a little bit more time. Because look at, without a big reveal, how much we have all learned here in the Hive. Look at the exposure. That's exactly right, Sarah Sushi. The exposure. Look at, there doesn't necessarily have to be a big reveal to tell people what happened. If you're paying attention and not living under a rock, or not having your hand in this or your head in the sand, and not just listening to MSNPC, you're going to learn, you're going to see it, and then you actually can't stop seeing it, and you can apply it to not just this case, but out into the rest of your life. So exactly, Amanda. Thank you. You summed it up in a sentence. The reveal would be the innocence through exposure. Correct. Now, one of the things, yeah, it's all about power and money for sure. What's up, Good Trouble? Thanks for tuning in. Jeff H says, often what many think is a lie can also just be a misinterpretation, kind of like the guy filmed right after the second plane hit the World Trade Center tower and went into the street saying a bomb went off in the building. Oh, God, Jeff, I could go down a rabbit hole on that one with you, brother. there's so many coincidences though with 9/11, and there's also the dude who said that, you know, he already knew within hours that the steel melted and it was structural collapse. And then don't forget about Building 7 that fell at free fall speed and no plane ever hit it and looks like a controlled demolition. And I don't know the misinterpretation. I could see if that specific person was not able to view the sky and he heard the explosion and it sounded like a bomb went off. Yes, I'm probably sure that there are people who didn't see the second plane. It sounded like a bomb. But when you see the footage of it, I don't know. That'd be a hard one for me to get. I don't know if I could change my mind on that one. That was like my OG conspiracy theory, was 9/11 being an inside job. That's a poll that we've probably already done, but type of one, if you guys think that it is. I am curious because there are also a lot of people that 9/11 is a very touchy one if you have members that have served, or if they lost people over there. And that's not to say that that is wrong if you think it's an inside job and that's what led to it. If anything, the anger that I've heard from people in my family that served is now towards the politicians. It's towards the people who lied about what got everybody feeling fired up and patriotic, and maybe they did know about it in the planning and training exercise that scrambled the jets and sent them away so they couldn't get there in time to shoot down the planes. And there's so many things about that. So I mean, people die in a false flag. People die in a psyop. I've mentioned that on stream a lot. I was very confused when going back to JoJo's question real quick about which do I believe is likely, and how I kind of said there's only one combined theory that checks all those boxes. The ritual being disrespectful for somebody pointing that out has blown my mind. It's blown my mind. Like, how is saying, and I'm asking this genuinely, how is saying that these murders were not done by Brian Koberger, who didn't decide until right before he went into the house, moments before, as Bill Thompson says, and the timeline, and the Jason Bourne timeline ninja doing backflips like Sammy T said Uma Thornton did in Kill Bill, not leaving any DNA, nothing in his car, nothing on his clothes, no Dickies coveralls, none of that shit. But you say, wow, look at the dates. Look at where the victims were found, why they were in the bed. Look at all this shit that lines up. That's like, there's a lot of questions that get answered when you look through that lens, and people couldn't stand that theory to the point where it was flagged. You know what I mean? It was just, so for anybody that's new to the Hive, over on TikTok, I just made the switch to YouTube like at the end of April. So if people are like, well, where's Birdie come from? Whatever. I was over on TikTok since probably end of February doing lives. So my live streaming days are still rather new. They're very new, actually. I mean, it's been probably 6 or 7 months since I started doing this. And I would post videos a lot though. And I'm telling you, TikTok is like getting thrown into the deep end of a Shark Tank with chum all around you. There are savages on TikTok. YouTube, you'll get some people now and again, but with the algorithm giving people random videos on the FYP, it's wild. And that's a great add-on, MW Jones. Formals are head on ritual weekends. I agree, Amanda. There's some good stuff on Truth Tide. If you have a Roku or a TCL. Oh, God. Uncle Daddy Brother, I just saw a comment you said fly by from earlier about some people dancing. Yeah, there's people, too, over on TikTok that they've said in a live chat that they wish that Mrs. Birdie and I were in the house that night, because I said, it kind of sounds and looks like a ritual. And then you think about, there's the Aryan Knights, who maybe 2 victims of the family members' parents could have potentially snitched on them. And the Aryan Knights believe in Odinism, as most white supremacist groups do. And you're just You're a sick F, Birdie. You deserve to have been in that house. It's wild. I do too. And Crown, you've been a TikTok OG. Hiver. On TikTok, it wasn't even really called the Hive. YouTube is where it really solidified. I think I would just call the chat randomly Hive Mind stuff. Goes back to that dead internet theory, Renee. Yeah, it's crazy. For real. My cousins, this is so random, but when you just said for real, thought of like Wiz Khalifa song, and then I also thought my cousins, they were going through the I mean, it's such a funny name, only if I guess you could hear their thought process on it. They were gonna open up a bar called Fasho, like FASHO, Fasho, and their whole marketing campaign to get people to go to the bar was, you want to go to Fasho, and then somebody would go back to them and respond and say Fasho, which it was hilarious. Like, it was like a Thanksgiving or a Christmas. They were debating it. They actually tried to go and do that, which is also even funnier. It never ended up coming to, but I think that was kind of clever. Fasho. It is awesome. It's actually very clever. It's very clever. Is there a lottery drawing tonight? I did not buy one. You know, I remember, speaking of lottery tickets too, this is kind of random. So when I graduated college, I went and I got like a financial advisor dude, and he was a little bit younger. And my uncle, a couple weeks later, we were talking, and he's like, I have a finance guy. If you want to get a referral to him, more than happy to, get you his number and stuff. And I go, oh no, I met with a guy already. And he's like, oh, how did it go? What did he talk about? And I was mind blown, because my financial advisor had said buying a lottery ticket is actually it's statistically a terrible investment, but the upside to it is better than almost any unicorn stock that you've ever seen. Maybe besides, a lot, maybe besides being way early on Bitcoin. And I told my uncle that. My uncle thought it was the craziest shit ever. He's like, he's going to lose all your money. Like, you can't go to him. This guy's telling you to buy lottery tickets. And I'm actually just like, it made sense to me. What is it? $10 per lotto ticket, or $20 for like 5? I don't even know. That's how many I bought. I feel like scratch offs might be a little bit different. I like going to the casino every now and again with Mrs. Birdie. Last 2 times we've gone, I've gotten absolutely wrecked. But anyways, moving on to the tinfoil hat conspiracy of the day. How many people here in the Hive have heard of the mattress firm conspiracy theory? Let's see what the Hive says. Some people have. Okay, cool. I like that a lot of people aren't saying anything. Yeah. So this is crazy. The owning a mattress firm franchise, or starting that, the economics of it just don't make sense. Okay. People buy mattresses once every 8 to 10 years, sometimes longer. It's a big ticket, low repeat purchase. It's the opposite of businesses that justify so many storefronts. Yet if you go to cities like Houston, Chicago, and Phoenix, you'll find 4 or 5 of these stores within a mile. Unlike a coffee shop or a gas station, nobody ever goes and impulse buys a mattress. There's zero daily demand for that. So how are they affording the rent, the staff, the inventory, and the marketing with no steady foot traffic. Well, Hive, that is money laundering 101. You need a business that deals in high dollar, low inventory items, and mattresses are perfect. You got high price tags of over typically $1,000 plus per sale. You can fake sales receipts. You can, quote, sell 20 beds a month on paper with no actual product moving. Nobody questions mattress pricing either. So you could set your price. You could say that this is the best mattress ever. Like, who's going to dive into that? These prices, they vary wildly. You can get a mattress in a box on Amazon for $200, or you can go buy it however expensive those purple mattresses are. I'm sure they're more than $200. But empty showrooms don't matter if the, quote, business is really just cleaning cash. Now, here are some real world red flags that lend some credibility to this mattress firm conspiracy. And wait, Dana, that's actually such a good thought. And you can literally move money in a mattress. That's very true. You could move a lot of things inside a mattress if you think about it. So mattress firm filed bankruptcy in 2018. They filed Chapter 11 after, quote, accounting irregularities tied to Steinhoff International, a holding company investigated for fraud. Reddit mapped 9 mattress firms within a 5-mile radius in Chicago, literally across the street from each other. Mattress firm isn't mom and pop. It's tied to international holding companies and hedge funds, both notorious for shady finance practices. They have low staff and empty stores. If you ask anyone, you never see any customers. Meaning if you talk to people that work across the street from a mattress firm, ever since the store's gone in, they see nobody. Lights stay on, rent gets paid. So another thought outside of money laundering is it's a real estate scam where instead of laundering, some people believe that these mattress chains exist to inflate the property value. Because owning empty storefronts on valuable land is worth nothing. It's also a tax shelter if you run a loss-making store, or like if you're not making any profit, you get corporate write-offs. And we've all noticed it. There's an absurd number of these stores. But it's about the reason, and one of the things that I'm going to try to do when I do these tinfoil hat conspiracies of the day is also try to tie it back to, especially when it's something like this, it's not just, there's so many mattress stores. It's actually a giant fucking problem, Hive. Business fronts are hiding in plain sight. Real estate, finance, and retail are just masking some sort of bigger illegal operation. Everyday people notice something's off about it, even if they can't prove it, and nothing ever happens. How many things like that can you apply this conspiracy to? So many. And I saw Nicole D and Les, thank you so much for the super chats. Appreciate that. Nicole said mattress firm has got to be true, but have you also heard of the Wayfair conspiracy too? In my areas, we have at least 6 mattress firms all right next to each other. I'll tell you what, the rumors that I've heard about Wayfair are dark. They are dark. You see ads or listings for a couch, a throw couch pillow for $28,000. And it's describing what sounds like a small child that's missing. I've actually heard even a darker theory. Okay, again, remember, this is the Hive. We think past the headlines. So what I'm about to say next, I'm not trying to offend anybody. And it's dark and it's sick. But I've heard that the missing kids on milk cartons, and I've heard that the missing kid posters in Walmarts are really to let these sick fucks know these kids are for sale. Because when's the last time you've ever seen somebody on those missing posters ever get found? And I don't know if anybody's dug into that, but there's some wild stories about those posters that get hung up in these stores. So yeah, that's what I was getting at, friend of God. Exactly. And it's sad and it's gross, and you know, and if you haven't looked up the tunnels that go from Walmart to Walmart and how they're built and all that shit, it's pretty disgusting. So, well, Hive, before I go, I want to see how you all felt about this stream, where it wasn't that different, but there was some other, it's not as flowing with it's not just me making a video. And I want to make sure too that if I ever get to that point where I'm kind of going a while without checking in with the Hive, and thank you so much to Adrian 1984. That's exactly right, to the cause and collective. Thank you. I personally enjoyed this. Time flew by for me answering the question, and I hope you all enjoyed it, because I like coming on here and talking with you guys and hearing your theories, and it's more interesting, and it's not just the mundane turning over every leaf for the millionth time in this case that is going to be the fucking death of everybody if they keep looking at it. I mean, the hours I've stared at a computer screen are crazy. So, Hive, I hope you guys know how much I genuinely appreciate you tuning in every night to hang out. And I will be on tomorrow night, as always, at 7 p.m. Central, with anything else that comes up from now and then, with some Hive Mind finds, with another spinner wheel of questions. I also got a couple other things to keep you on your toes throughout these next few streams to try out and find kind of a new flow and a new rhythm of mixing it up. So I appreciate you all, and I hope everybody has a great night's sleep and crushes their day tomorrow. Cheers, everyone.
Birds flying high, you know how I feel. Sun in the sky, you know how I feel. Breeze drifting on by, you know how I feel. It's a new dawn, it's a new day, it's a new life.